what has the lockdown taught you about your business? One thing I tried to do, I went out and I could not find a single agent who has experience with doing real estate in a pandemic. I tried. I made lots of calls, but I couldn't find anyone who has the experience, not even Craig Roberts. He said, nope, no experience at all. So everyone's basically going to have a different story to tell because this is new for everyone. So that's why I feel it's really important for us all to discuss as a group what our experiences are. You know, whether we're busier than ever or if we're having challenges, we can all learn from each other. You know, one of the benefits of being a Berkshire Hathaway agent is not only all the tools, but the support of your fellow agents and your staff as well. So please, if you're having any challenges, reach out to myself, Tay, or Nalani, the sales manager at the Beering office. We're definitely here to help you. So what I'd like is just I do have a couple people lined up to speak, but I think it's important for all of us to talk about, you know, what we've gone through, what our feelings, our experiences are with our business. You know, whether it's good or if you're having challenges, we can all learn from each other. And so first of all, there goes Justin. I was going to have Justin speak, but I'll wait for you to come back, Justin.
Sorry, I had to put the ceiling fan on.
So, this is Justin Odell. I'd like to introduce him. He's an agent at our West Seattle office, and he's going to talk a little bit about his experience, you know, during this lockdown and how it's affected his business or what adjustments he's made for his business.
Well, thanks, Russ. You know, what have I done? I don't know. I was talking to Russ briefly yesterday. I haven't like changed or pivoted, you know, like you might hear people doing and gone to videos and gone to marketing more and things like that. Like I probably should have. But I am consistently busy with things that have been happening, you know, old clients that I've been working with for 6 months or so. We've kind of stayed the course. And we've been closing things and moving forward as normally as we can. And I think a lot of that goes to, you know, additional communication. That's for sure. You know, I'm checking in with them daily, you know, probably daily with most people on different things. You know, since we all don't know, you know what I mean? We all don't know what the heck's going on out there or what to expect. So I found it works with my guys that I'm in it with them. You know what I mean? I'm doing as much as I can on my end in this little real estate world, right? To get them that information because they've got all this other stuff to worry about, right? But if they can trust and know that I'm on top of the news and the updates and the market today and tomorrow and the next day, you know, because it's changing that quickly, right? With new protocols and all types of things. So I guess for me, that's been the big thing that I've done during this whole deal is increased communication. And then that brings, I guess, an increased sense of normalcy and calm in a crazy situation. It's like, look, at least then we're making the best decision we can with the most, you know, accurate information at that time. You know, being right on top of it, I guess that's, and it seems like it's a daily thing these days. You know, the news is changing every single, you know, it's on the hour almost. So, I don't know. I guess that's the biggest difference I've had is I've really increased communication.
Yeah, and myself talking with a lot of agents and those who are both busy and not as busy as they'd like to be, everyone has upped their communication with their current clients and past clients just to stay in touch because we are the experts in our field and they do look to us for information. So a lot of times if there's nothing new, just calling them up and say, hey, nothing's changed right now. I don't have any new information, but as soon as I get the new information, I'll reach back out and give you an update. And I noticed that with quite a few agents, including myself, that was really effective, and the clients or those in your sphere really appreciated it. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you're kind of doing the same thing.
And yeah, and I've reached out to essentially everybody on my list, and letting them know that I'm on it. I'm watching everything. You're fine. Everything's okay, right? The sky hasn't fallen. And then that I think that rolls into different conversations and things, but then they know that I'm on top of it. And it hopefully will calm them down, because let's say somebody that bought 2 years ago, they might be freaking out. What about the bridge? What about COVID, right? And so I can give them history on the bridge, right? That everything's, but what we think might happen there, as far as you're not trapped. Your investment isn't just going to plummet, but I don't know, at least I guess it gives a good reason to reach out, just like that's this whole game, is reaching out to people.
Yeah. And when you do reach out, most people are going to be available because a lot of people aren't at work. They're at home, homeschooling. So now, even right now, if you haven't done it already, now is definitely a good time to reach out just to check on people. Don't have to talk about real estate, but just reach out and communicate. So thanks, Justin. Appreciate your comments on what's going on with your business. One other agent I did have a chance to speak to, but she had an appointment, so she isn't able to talk today, is Debbie Kearns from our West Seattle office. So with speaking with Debbie, one thing she's learned through all this is just being consistent. Being consistent with what she was doing prior to the quarantine all the way through. Says there are some people who, when this quarantine started, they paused, which is fine. Everyone's going to react differently, but one of the key things for her was just being consistent and following through. One thing she did add is she upped her calls. She was doing more calls during the quarantine. Same thing, just reaching out, communicating, giving updates if she had updates. One thing she was doing as well, not at the beginning, but after a couple of weeks, she wasn't hesitating with asking for business. She didn't do it right away, but after this moved on a little bit, she was then asking for business in subtle ways. So she went from just communicating, just check in on people or updating current clients, to then asking for business. Work for some, may not work for all, but she's consistently busy with her business. So we also have Calvin here today. Calvin Marcus from our Beering office, and he's going to speak a little bit about how the whole lockdown has affected him and his business, and maybe what he's doing differently.
Well, I'll probably just, same as what Justin mentioned, it was a lot of communication with clients, probably a little bit more than usual, just because there's so much new information out there regarding, how COVID is impacting not just the real estate, but the economy in general. And so, a lot of my clients recently has just been asking, what do you think? Is it too early to buy now? Should we wait a little bit and see if prices come down? I mean, I think the important thing is to be, like Justin said, just to be ready and have information as it comes out. Just like our recession back in 07, 08, we really didn't feel it right away, but, the indicators were coming and we were seeing the indicators. So what I've been saying to a lot of clients is just be wary. Don't, even though the market is strong right now, I'm sure everyone else is experiencing multiple offers still and things going off the market in 24 hours. But we've also been seeing some prices come down, and at least the areas that I've been shopping for my clients. And so just being mindful of, just warning, not making it dreadful, but just making, a distinct warning to clients saying, hey, a lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of the economy might be shifting a little bit. And so just having that information out there. Another thing that I've been doing is actually making calls, like Russ said. Everyone should be home. You have something to talk about. I mean, you don't have to necessarily talk about real estate, but at least checking up on people and, making sure they know that you're still around, you're still working. And, if you get around to it, hey, sure, talk about real estate and see if someone else might be, in their sphere that you can help. But that's been, a big change in my business, just being able to talk more, even though I don't like making calls to people and doing video calls like this. This is totally out of my comfort zone for sure, but it's something that we all have to do just to, adjust to the new normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One question for you, if you don't mind answering. So is your business up, down, or same, neutral?
I would say it's up. It's been pretty good. I feel like I've been busier now during the pandemic than I was before. So I'm not sure what to attribute that to. But it's just the way it goes. You just got to be ready.
Mm-hmm. If Justin's still on, same question for you, Justin. Hope you're on mute.
Sorry, what was the question?
So the question is, so if you don't mind answering, during this quarantine time, is your business up, down, neutral?
My business is up. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's that time of year. I've got things going on. I've got 3 things closing this month. I mean, but all of this isn't new business during the COVID, shutdown. This is stuff that's been going on for, 4 to 6 months possibly. And we just have stayed the course. So, as far as is it up or down? I don't know. I do have a couple buyers that I'm working with that are very much on the fence, right? So I don't know. Technically it's up, but it's not directly related to the COVID. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, definitely makes sense. But
definitely. And we're getting things done and we're moving forward regardless. That's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah. And I think part of it is, with both of you say you kept up or increased communication. Mm-hmm. So just to stay busy or have your business go up, I think it's really what contributed that it was staying in that communication, easing your clients' fears. So I'm sure not only our clients, but us as agents had fears coming into this as well. Mm-hmm. Like you said, you just stayed the course.
And I have had a couple clients reach out because of those reach out calls. And we've picked up communication. And one of them is thinking of, they want to move to Burien because of the bridge. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, well, let's start. What does that look like? So let's start looking at that conversation. But that's all due to the initial reach out of, hey, how you doing?
Gotcha.
Well, if you don't mind me interjecting real quick, a lot of our agents do a lot of Facebook posts about, real estate and everything like that, how we're working. I used to do that too. And right now, some of the changes that I've been doing because of COVID is kind of toning it down. And this is just for me. I'm not saying everyone should do this, but personally, I consider ourselves very lucky to be able to work. And so I'm toning down on, trying to say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, because I'm mindful of the people who don't have jobs anymore and have got their hours cut, lost their, their business is down 50% or more. Maybe they can't even open. So I've been mindful about, not necessarily, touting too much about being able to work, because you still got to be a little bit responsible socially, because there are people out there who are struggling with no jobs, no money to pay rent. That's just me, but I'm just on my soapbox.
Yeah, no, very, very good point. I appreciate that comment. Yeah, thank you, Calvin. One other agent who had appointments today, I reached out to, and actually spoke with was Larissa Wilson from a West Seattle office. And what she had mentioned that had how her business had changed is one of it was at the beginning, she had time to reflect. So on the days when she was, she was no longer able to come in the office, she took the time to rethink her business and think, okay, what's going on with my business? One thing she ended up doing is she ended up getting a coach. So now she's being coached. Another thing is she's working on her CRM, getting that in line. So for her, what was important to her is getting organized. So she's taken this time during the quarantine, even though she's still really, really busy, is to become more organized. Just so for her, she can stay that course of being busy. Because I know for a lot of us, once we're out of our normal routine, we can kind of end up being lost. So for her, she made the choice of, okay, I'm gonna have a coach and get things organized in my business. And with that, she's been able to consistently stay busy. And that's what's helped her. Anyone else who would like to share, either what has changed with their business, what has not changed, what challenges you're having? Feel free to unmute yourself and speak.
So I'm Diana Hinderly from the Berian office. For me, it's the technology of having to, like I had to do a presentation of an offer, writing an offer all electronically, like on Zoom, which was a challenge. But then when I got a listing and I had to, and nobody could go in, making that tour of the house, and that was like, oh my gosh. So try number 2 actually had background music and over talking, and I'm like, I'm getting there, but I am wondering if anybody out there has figured out exactly how that open house virtual thing works, because I have not. So it's kind of like all the technical things that I've worked through, but I cannot seem to figure out how to do a virtual open house. And I don't know how much longer we're gonna have to do that, but it would be
anybody
nice.
like to comment on that? Okay, so what I'm seeing out there with live virtual open houses, so I believe you have a space in the MLS to advertise it, right, but it is virtual. And what you can do, you can use a program, let's say, such as Facebook Live. So you advertise, okay, I'm doing a virtual open house at 1 p.m. at this residence. So you start your tour at that time, walk around with Facebook Live. There's other programs as well.
But then you're supposed to stay open the whole time like you would a normal. So you've got this running the whole time. And then when people come on, you talk to them. What's it look like from that side of things?
I haven't seen it yet, but another option is you have your phone number, you wait in the house, they can call you. And when they call you, you can start that live tour for just that person.
Okay.
This is new to me as well. I haven't seen it or done it, but from what I've heard, these are kind of options. Anyone else have any experience?
So I actually, I did a virtual open house via Facebook Live the day my listing went a week ago Friday. And I just went on my personal page and linked it to Berkshire Hathaway. Then I uploaded that video into the virtual, I took the link and put it on. Now you can go on Berkshire and look at my virtual open house. Again, it was just live. It wasn't perfect. The quality is a little bit grainy, but I did it, right? And then I was like, okay, let's do another one. Let's see how this next one works. Well, I didn't, for many reasons. This weekend, I was invited to an open house from Mary Hefty from Federal Way Berkshire office. She set it up as a Facebook event and then invited different people. She did it on Zoom. So in that, it was a Facebook creation, but then it was her Zoom link. So at 2 o'clock, we clicked on the link and there she was. And she walked us through. There were other people that joined later, and she didn't record it. So I said, if you want to do another one, call me up and we'll pretend that I'm walking through your open house and you can put that link. But once it was out there, it was done and I felt really good. That's my experience.
Well, and it's my understanding that it's not supposed to be a video. It's supposed to be live. And that was my big concern. I'm like, I'm going to sit in this house and wait for somebody to come on and show them around. And I'm like, I don't know about this. So I've just not done it at all. Mm-hmm. They didn't want it to be a video.
Yeah. One thing as well, when you have your professional photos taken, a lot of times they'll give you a virtual tour as well within that you can upload to the MLS. Yep, you're muted, Diana.
I did do the virtual tour and I did that one on my own. But when it came to the live one, they don't want you to post a virtual tour. They want you to be live at the house.
Yeah.
And that was the part that had me like, I don't get it. I don't know how to do that. But I can do a Zoom. That's an idea.
Mm-hmm. And it was live. And mine was Facebook Live. So I had invited people to it.
Okay.
And then I just used that video at the very end and just uploaded that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do if you're doing a live open house? I mean, do you walk around with your phone with a camera aimed out?
I did, and you're welcome.
There's the fireplace. Or?
My particular open house is loaded on my Berkshire listing. You can go and look at it, and certainly you'll see that I walked a little bit fast in places, but it was a description just as I was walking through the home.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and one thing to mention, as everything's evolving and the business model changes, doing these live open houses, especially if they're calling in or to join that way or via their email, that's going to be the new way to pick up buyers as well, because you're making that connection through a live presentation. So any way you can get their email address or phone number for them to log on to see your live virtual open house, that's a potential connection for a buyer. So that might be a new way to do business coming up and picking up clients. So do keep that in mind, that if you're looking to increase your business during these times, look at that avenue to increase your business.
Because probably a lot of people won't be doing that. I did have a chance to do an inspection the other day, and that was new for me, doing part of it video. And what I did is I guess I just recorded. I just walked around and recorded some things about the house because the buyers are in Arizona, and just gave them a little tour of the house. And it was kind of easy and fun.
Nice.
They haven't changed that yet, have they? Where it's still just 2 people in the house at any time? So the inspector.
Right, just me and the inspector.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Bruce,
yeah.
To your point, which is great. That's a great idea to do video. I wish I had thought of that. I actually had the inspector do a FaceTime at the very end, and she kind of covered the points. And it was a little FaceTime with the husband and wife who were not in attendance. And that actually became something now that I actually really enjoy having them tell. I don't want to miscommunicate. So that was really nice that the inspector was willing to do it. I don't know if they're all willing to do it. Yeah.
That's a very good idea. Yep. And that may be something that the buyers are not expecting. And I think it's really good to do things that are new and they may not have expected. So.
Anyone else? How's your business changed? How have you had to adapt or pivot? Or is anyone having challenges?
Yes, I have something to share that I'm hoping comes across as encouraging and not arrogant. But I am obviously a new agent. I'm not even at 3 months yet, and I've already started working with buyers right now, and hopefully I'm going to be putting an offer in on a house. And I've had a couple other buyers come to me as well, and a couple of them just haven't worked out because of financing. And I just hope that it's encouraging that like me as a completely new agent, not even 3 months under my belt, if I can be working with buyers during a pandemic at the start of my career, that I hope people that have been doing it for a long time feel like it's still encouraging that they can still get business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you're working very, very hard, Andrea, and it's paying off for sure for you.
This is Preble. Can I ask you guys a question? I have been asked by my clients who just sold their condo in Linwood, you know, my opinion of the market moving forward. They want to know whether to buy or to wait. And, you know, I don't know the answer, obviously. I read something from Justin the other day, not Justin, excuse me, Jason Wah. And I forwarded it to him, and I had just scanned it briefly when I was on the run, and I forwarded it to him. And when I read it after the fact, it was very, very positive. But initially when I read it, I thought I picked up on the fact that, you know, this could be the peak of the rise over the last 2-3 years. And, you know, does anybody remember reading something like that from Jason? Because when I reread it, it didn't say that at all. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm losing my mind, because I really forwarded to him with the idea, to my clients with the idea that maybe we need to pause as opposed to just jump into buying.
I don't recall that that specific one. No, I read I think everything that Jason sends, and I don't recall that one, Robert. I don't know. Maybe it came from another similar source or something of that ilk. But I think I'll jump in on that question, and I definitely am curious to hear what other people think. But you know, the reality is that, of course, we don't really totally know, right? I mean, we definitely can't say this is the top or this is not, or, you know, whatever it is. I think for a lot of clients, I think it's reasonable to tell clients, you know, if they're looking to buy something that they're going to be in for the next, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, go for it, right? I mean, because even we know that even if the market does sag for a minute, that the market comes back strong, right? We had the worst, you know, market we could ever imagine, you know, with the crash of the you know, the lending and everything a few years back, and yet where did it do? It all bounced back. So I think that I don't think it's unreasonable to buy if it's going to be long term. I don't think it's unreasonable to buy if you're going to buy and sell in the same kind of time frame, right? So if you're going to buy something at top value, but you're also selling something at top value, then that's not going to impact you negatively.
But also, you know, most, like you say, Tay, most people are not buying for the next year. They're buying for the next 5, 7, or 10 years or longer. Yeah. So in that whole time, it's going to, it's not going to make, this blip is not going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, that's how I believe that fully, you know, when it comes to it. Now, if I'm somebody who is, you know, it just has a house to sell, right? Well, actually, that's me. I have a house to sell. I don't have to sell it. I could rent it. I could sell it. I could do whatever I want with it. You know, would I rather sell it today than a year from now? Yeah, probably so. I'd probably go ahead and try to sell it today rather than wait for a year to sell it into the, you know, a little bit of an unknown, right? So I might be more motivated to sell something sooner than later. But gosh, if you're buying something for long term, I would go with it. The other thing that I would mention is, you know, you mentioned sending something to your client, and I think that's brilliant. I think that, you know, Calvin spoke to knowledge and, you know, having more information and being able to talk to people about it. But I think that taking things from resources that are trusted resources and sending those things to your clients, things that they're not getting on the 10 o'clock news, right? Your local news station that's just a bunch of bunk. It really sending them things of high quality. And I know I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I'll mention it here. I continue to send that interview between Dr. Nalani. Yep, you know, I know you know. You gotta unmute yourself though.
Dr. Yoon, the NAR economist.
Thank you. Absolutely. The interview between him and Gina Blafari, that was sent out. If you don't know where that is, go to your email and just type in must watch, because I put that in the subject bar when I emailed it out. But I continue to send that to clients and to people that are just asking what's going on in the market, because I think that that is the most succinct, reasonable explanation of what's going on and what to expect, and what the people that know are saying, right? Not the people that are trying to sell news and commercials and things like that. And I think that's a great value. So I might also, Robert, find that email and send that to them. Send them the video.
Yeah, good idea. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
That email's where?
In your Outlook, if you go to Outlook and you type in the subject bar, if you type in must watch, you'll find an email from me, probably about a month ago now. But it is that if you haven't seen that, if you have not watched that interview, you need to. It's highbrow stuff at a very understandable level, and it will really help you get your head around why this is not like it was in 08, 09, 10, right? That doesn't mean that things can't ripple into something else and something new and something different. I'm not saying that we know 100% what's going to happen, but you watch that and you'll feel like you've got a very good grasp of what's going on.
You sent the email on April 15th.
I just got squeaked out. Somebody played me off with a squeak.
I wanted to say I had a client back in 08 who wanted to sell her house, and I'm like, you do realize that you know the market's kind of down, you're not going to get as much for it. She goes, well, I'll have to pay less for the next one too, so what difference does it make? And I kind of have kept that in my head all the time. It's like, if it makes sense to you to do it now, do it now. If you can afford the payment that it's going to be for over a course of years, do it now. Yeah. There's no sense in waiting. And it all came from her just being like, I get less for my house, I pay less for my condo. You know, I'm like, that's true. So anyway, I liked what she said.
Has anyone noticed a difference in, say, newspaper articles, Seattle Times and so on, compared to what the stats are that we've talked about and that John has sent out and so on? It seems that business is going better than what is reported in the media and what buyers are asking about. Anyone else notice that?
I'd say one thing with media is always behind.
Right.
You know, up to 30 days, 45 days behind, because they're waiting for, let's say, the month of April.
Sure.
So they're collecting all the data through the month of April, and they're putting out the report on April 10th, let's say. So it's good just to follow the market every day, be in communication with different agents, asking what their experience, so you can see the trend of the market throughout the whole month. Because by the time that report comes out on May 10th for the month of April, we could be in a whole different trend, a whole different market in May. And some people might have the wrong idea of what the market is, you know, for better or for worse. Well, this is up to us to stay on top of that data to give them the information that they need for today.
Yeah, this is why in the sales meetings we're trying to put out information about, you know, the key boxes, you know, how many people are opening key boxes and how many new listings and what it's doing in relation, because the news media right now is just absolutely I think it's just downright dangerous what they're saying, what they're putting out there. I heard, maybe I mentioned this last week, I heard on the news, and I wish I had paid more attention to it, but that real estate was down 60%. 60%? What? How? What are you talking about? That down 60%, what does that mean to you? Right? I mean, we know that our numbers here in the MLS are nowhere near that. We know that the sales numbers, I think, for April year over year were down like 27%. That's units. That's not dollars. It has nothing to do with what houses are costing and what the situation is for buyers and things of that nature. I think everybody struggles with the same thing, but I think that you get a lot of news outlets that are just looking for something on a deadline last minute, and they are getting information from people that do not know what they're talking about. I think they've proven
looking
that
for headlines. You know, they can't sell anything if they can't get a good headline that's going to attract attention.
Absolutely. But it is important. One thing about this business or one thing about the pandemic that, you know, really has shown me for our company and for our business and everything is really that knowledge is power. Having the right knowledge. I mean, this really just, you know, amplifies the whole idea that we have got to know the truth. We have to have the numbers. We have to be able to tell our clients really, truly what in the heck is going on, so we can be that trusted advisor for them. And if we're just relying on local news or our feelings, then we're not serving our clients very well, right? And to me, that's one of the biggest takeaways out of this whole thing to me.
That ties in a lot with Northwest Knowledge too.
It really does. It really does. Having that knowledge is incredibly meaningful. And when you're able to share those stats and you're able to share with people what's really going on, and you're able to real quick send them a video that they can understand that will help bring their anxiety levels down and things of that nature and really educate them, boy, your value goes through the roof. It's that loyalty factor just takes off. So anybody else been experiencing that loyalty factor? I'm looking, nobody's reaching further.
Hey, what's up, people? I'll piggyback on that a little bit because you're right. The news is pretty crazy in terms of like what they're saying. So yeah, you're just the voice of reason now. You know, the neighbors, the friends talking about how bad the market is, and you can just you know, talk knowledgeably about that. So that's been kind of my experience. And also, what I'll say on a couple things. First, I want to give a shout out to Diana Hinderly because she's the one that kind of prompted me to, where was she? She's prompted me to do a video, kind of going back a little bit, video for the listing. I think if anyone has listings right now and they don't have some sort of virtual tour video, something, they're really shooting themselves in the foot because, you know, nobody can really get into the homes right now. So whether it's the full-blown Matterport, which is pretty damn cool, but sometimes it's just like too much, you know? And depending on what level of technology you have, i.e. 50 and up, you can't sometimes navigate, you know, some of these older folks that I work with, they can't mess with it. So a quick video really goes a long way. And I mean, a couple of weeks ago, speaking of Diana, you know, she gave me the idea with the iMovie and, you know, get your YouTube page, which coincidentally I had. And you know, it's been like 2 weeks and, you know, I'm pretty damn close to like Scorsese level at this point. And it just goes to show you that it's not that really hard to just go into it like iMovie or something, just a couple of slice and dice and let people see what's up. I haven't ventured into the Facebook live kind of thing. But again, I think if the video that people are clicking, because everyone's looking online, obviously, for their homes, if the video is clear, concise, and shows what's up, then theoretically, you don't necessarily need to do a Facebook Live, although it's a great way to cultivate clients. I mean, I'm missing out on that open house thing because it's always been a way for me with a business coming in to just, you know, woo somebody at an open house and just, you know, get the chat. So that's a little problematic there, but you know, just a good video on listings, I think is paramount. So I'll just leave it at that. My first video that I did on my North Hill listing was, you know, it's like 5 minutes, which is about 3 minutes too long, admittedly. But, you know, sometimes you have to also appease the seller a little bit. I mean, this guy wanted me to book a whole new photography session because his one rosebud was booming, you know. So you couldn't do that. So, you know, you get in there and you video it and, you know, and my hits kind of started to kind of go up, I feel like. But that was also due to like a $50,000 price reduction. But anyway, I'll leave it at the fact that I just think that people should just like everyone should have a virtual tour of some sort, and a video component is pretty easy to do. So,
great. Thanks, Colin.
Oh, I'll also say too is doesn't everybody think that Russ is very the Dos Equis guy right now? Loving this. You should have a Dos Equis in your hand right now.
Don't do that.
I wish I could, but Tay won't allow me.
Please don't do that.
Oh, guys, by the way, I wanted to show you guys one thing while I'm right here. I'm sitting in my house, and remember, it didn't seem like that long ago, but remember this place, guys? Martin's Bar.
Nice. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Butterfield, for the back entrance, tip there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a real good tool that we figured out accidentally.
Yeah, yeah.
My youngest, we took the kids there a few days before convention, and my youngest, not a week goes by, he doesn't talk about the dry ribs at Martin's. He's like, oh, I wish we could get dry ribs at Martin's. 9. Nice. Nice.
Hey, one thing I'll do, and even after I'm done speaking right here, feel free to continue to comment. Just with my years in the business, so I started about 1999, 2000. So I've been in the business 20 years. So I've been around through a couple up and downs, especially the 2008 through 2012, and with what we're going through now. One thing I will say, especially for the newer agents, good or bad, there's always going to be a market. And it's up to us to adapt and adjust. The market will not stop. If you go back to 2008, 9, 10, everyone's probably thinking, especially newer agents, oh, it must have been horrible. Horrible times. Yeah, it was tough, but those agents who adapted, they continued to do business and make money. So in after 2008 through 2011, there were a lot of short sales. So those agents who took the time to get knowledge on short sales and gain that experience, they were making money. Those agents who connected with investors were out in force buying a lot of properties at cheap prices. A lot of agents made connections with banks to help them with those REO properties, selling those. So looking back, for me, I didn't want to do short sales. It's like, that's just too much work. But I lost money, just having that mentality where the agents I know who embraced it and adapted, they made money during that time and they survived.
That's exactly right. I didn't want to mess with them either. And I know I lost money because of that. One thing about a market going through, 2008 to 10, et cetera, is if you can hang in there, you will benefit coming out of it. So in the couple of years after that, things got really good once the market cranked up again, and it always does crank up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the agents I do know who worked with investors during 2010, 11, 12, buying up a bunch of properties, they were selling them last year. So they stayed in touch with those investors. So not only did they help them buy properties in 2011, 2012, they're helping them sell those properties now just by making that connection. So there's agents who made hundreds of thousands of dollars because they adapted during the time. So
and another thing that will benefit us is that there will be a lot of agents that can't hang in there with it, can't bridge the gap, so to speak, and they will fall out of the business. Mm-hmm. And that's good for us that we're still in the business.
Yeah. So I don't anticipate it being like the last time, but for sure there will be some movement.
Yeah, I'd say, for adapting, I don't believe we're going to have the short sales or huge amount of lower prices for investment opportunities. But as far as adapting now is being in more contact with your sphere of influence, doing more videos, doing virtual open houses. Those are the things that we have to adapt to now that we weren't doing before to gain more business and not to lose business during these times.
Russ, can I ask everybody a question? I'm curious because, we talked about, we've heard from a few, that, hey, the lack of open houses and even, doing virtual open houses and how that's going or not going for some of us. But I just want to throw out there, I'd just like to hear from people. We've been doing this for a couple of months now in the lockdown. How are you getting new clients? What is your individual attack method or the method of getting new clients, right? Open houses is generally a really good tool for a lot of us, but that's a little bit different right now. What are you doing? And or are we bringing in new clients? Right? Because if we're dealing with the clients that we have already, those are going to either go away because they're going to pause, or they're going to buy and sell houses. But where does that put us, 3 months, 6 months from now, right? If we're not bringing in and getting new clients now in this, we might be hurting on when we get a little bit further down the line, even if we're doing okay right now. Where are you getting new clients from these days? Or where should we be looking for new clients these days?
I've been talking to the SOI and just asking them for referrals. And I mean, those are always your best cheerleaders anyways, those people that you've worked with in the past or your friends and family. So now's the time to, touch base with them and just, because they always ask, how's the business? Because they think, just because of the pandemic, we are shut down, but you can, again, educate them, let them know that you are still working, and they'll say, hey, I think I know somebody. That's all it takes. Go from there.
So would it be reasonable to say that refocusing on your SOI?
I mean, again, everyone's business is different. Everyone's business model is different, but mine has always been focusing on the SOI. I mean, because they're always going to be a really good source of referrals.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
What are other people doing to get new clients?
I think mine is different. I always struggle with asking my clients to refer me somebody that they know, because I just feel like that since we haven't finished our deal, that's an awkward question to ask them. But they have referred me clients after our deals have been done, but just during it, it's always seemed weird for me to do that. I'm working with my lender. I use Facebook, as I've mentioned before. I'm working with my lender to scope different Facebook ads that me and him pay for, so I don't have to take on the cost fully by myself. He takes some of the cost, and we're just reaching through Facebook to find more clients.
Nice. Has anybody been jumping on and joining new Facebook groups just to meet new people and to kind of start creating new relationships there? Yeah, Nalani, I know you have.
Yeah, me.
Nalani's on mute, but I know she has.
I have. So for those that know me, know that we love to go camping, and we bought a new trailer and we can't do that. So I'm feeling cooped up. And so after, I think it was Andrea did a class on one of the Zoom rooms talking about joining these Facebook groups. I went out and I joined like Washington Day Trippers, Travel Trailer Camping. I just started joining like 4 different groups, and I'm talking more on Facebook than I've ever talked before, because I have so much interest in what other people are saying in these different groups. And so I suspect or hope at some point that will kind of create relationships.
It will.
So, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it will. It will for sure. I think that's fantastic. I think if you're in the group and you haven't been doing that yet, if you haven't jumped on and found things that you're interested in and joined local groups and stuff, boy, I think you might be missing a really good opportunity to get in front of a lot of people that you wouldn't be able to otherwise, and have that instant connection with them over something that you like. Because as we can see just in here, I mean, it's tough, right? It's tough in a lockdown. How do you get new clients? Where do they come from? Other than fall from the sky, how are we generating those new clients? I think that's a real tough thing that we're going to have to continue to piece through, and then create avenues of doing that, and set the time block for those calls or whatever it is.
Hey Tay, I think thanks for the reminder about the Facebook group. I wrote it down. I was going to do it and I didn't. And Nalani, thanks for bringing that up as well. I decided to go back and enjoy golfing since we're not doing open houses. And so now I've met some people in the parking lot, in the pro shop. I've been chatting it up with people on, when we're playing 18. So for me, that's kind of been a new way to try and meet people. But I think it's been tough without open houses. But I've got to find a way, so.
Yeah, we can't just go, oh, well, we don't have this, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody cares what we have or what we don't have, right? We gotta then turn those hours and those resources in your mind frame into other ways of putting yourself in front of the bus.
And everybody wants to talk about the market, so it just
right?
Just a little conversation kind of segues and it continues, and we're always happy to talk about that. So thanks.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something to Calvin because he mentioned earlier that he doesn't post on his social media because he doesn't want people, or he tries to like not post because people will see he's working and he doesn't want to offend people who lost their jobs. One of the things that I post what I'm doing, but I also post like, does anybody need anything? Does anybody need food? Does anybody need blah, blah? So it kind of counteracts all the posts about my work.
That was great that you did that, Ramon. I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you know, to be able to give back when you can, especially if you are going to be putting yourself out there like that. I mean, definitely, that's a great way to do it. I'm just looking at some of these people who are not even from this area. I follow other people that are from out of state, and I see them putting it out there a little differently than what you're talking about, and it just rubs me the wrong way. But you know, that doesn't mean anything. Everyone has their own style of way of doing business, and that works for them. So yeah, props to you.
Well, I can promise you that you can't make everybody happy.
Right.
No matter what we do, no matter what your messaging is, no matter what my messaging is, it's not going to resonate with everybody all the time. But you got to be true to who you are, so that what you're putting out there, you know, you can stand on, right? And you can go, well, this is me, right? So if me is less, then me is less. If me is more, then me is more. But be you, because that resonates with your people, right? They're with you for a reason. They're your friends and family, and they're your past clients for a reason, right? Because they like you. So I think that's awesome.
I feel like relatability, I know I talked about that in the social media Zoom that I did, is so huge. Like I did a story yesterday of organizing my kitchen cabinets, and then I talked about how to maintain them and cleaning wise and stuff like that, and things that you can do to, like, if you're on a tight budget, to do a quick little remodel on your kitchen. And I think that people appreciate that, as far as like not putting out things that are potentially triggering to people that have lost their jobs, because you're not encouraging this like Pinterest worthy, super amazing remodel or anything like that. You're just encouraging the little things that you can do in the meantime to make things better.
OMG, all my clients are gardening. They're all gardening. They're all like,
yep.
One thing I'll add as well, especially for the newer agents, you know, it's very important to build the foundation of your business early and quick. A lot of the agents who are continuing to be busy right now is because they built up their SOI over time. So that's how they're getting their referrals and leads right now, whether the market's good or bad. If you have a good foundation for your business, and have a strong presence with your SOI, and you're communicating with them on a regular basis, whether the market's good or bad, they're still going to be in touch with you and referring you business. So if you're new, now is the time to work extra hard on building the foundation for your business. Because as you're in this business longer, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, you know, Craig Roberts, he doesn't have to go out and generate leads. All of his clients come to him. It doesn't happen overnight, but the earlier you can do it in your business, you're going to reap the rewards down the line. Just be consistent and work hard from the get-go. So that's just throwing that out there. Anyone else? No. Hey, well, no Zoom room next week. I think that's the 25th. It's Memorial Day, so we're going to push it back to June 1st. So on June 1st, our next topic is, what is your wig? Not this, because I think everyone's growing out their hair pretty good right now. What is your wildly important goal? So we're going to discuss that at our next Zoom room. So until then, thank you, everyone. I'm glad to see all these lovely faces. I hope to see them again soon. And next time, hey, let's all try and put our work clothes on for the next Zoom, just to make sure they still fit, okay? Look forward to seeing everyone in a couple of weeks. And this is for you, Colin. Stay busy, my friends.
Nice. Oh, I love this. I love Zoom room. You guys are awesome. All right, we'll see you for the sales meeting on Wednesday.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russ.
And Kay.
And Kaya.